The 1998 Terriblestown 250 is brought to you by Terriblestown Casino in Pahrump, Nevada. And by Ford Motorsports. We race, you win. And by BF Goodrich, the #1 tire in off-road racing.
This is the Speed Vision Desert Racing Series coverage of the 1998 Terriblestown 250. Hello, everybody. I'm Todd Harrison. Joining me to describe the action are a couple of guys that know just about all there is to know about driving and riding. Of course, the Iron Man, Ivan Stewart, and the man who's mastered the motorcycle, Larry Rossman. First of all, Ivan, let's talk about the vehicles we'll be seeing today.
Todd, we're going to see just a little bit of everything. We've got 152 vehicles. We got motorcycles, we got quads, we got trucks, we got buggies with big engines, small engines. The weather is fantastic. It's got a little bit of a breeze, exactly what I like. Nice and cool, a little bit of a breeze. A lot of money to race for. Mark my word, we're going to have some fantastic racing.
All right, let's talk about that money. Billed as the richest off-road race in Nevada. It's got to be one of the richest in off-road racing, period. With $40,000 guaranteed. $10,000 goes to the first motorcycle to finish. $10,000 to the first four-wheel car or truck, and another $20,000 to the rest of the field, depending on their finishing position. And then there's the promoter's 50% payback of entry fees. Total purse could be in the neighborhood of $65,000. And Larry, from a racer's point of view, that's a nice neighborhood to be in. Let's talk a little bit about the course.
Actually, the start-finish line is right in the Terriblestown parking lot. It's a 247-mile race course. Casey Folks, he's the director of the Best in the Desert. He knows how to lay out a race course. We're going to see rocks, sand dunes, dry lake beds, sand washes. Speed's well over 100 miles an hour. You name it, he'll have it. It'll be an excellent race course.
There you have an aerial view of the Terriblestown Casino. And just to the right, the huge tent that was set up for the racers. About 5,800 square feet, food in there, live music. What a great show. And this really, Ivan's got to show the extent to the racers, the commitment by the Herbst family in making this race just a first-rate event.
That's true. You know, there's 152 entries, and this is the time that, for me personally, it's a day of fun, relaxation, you know, meet all your competitors and get some good food and just have a lot of fun.
You're right, Ivan. It's a good opportunity for the fans to get some autographs and get some souvenirs. And at the end of contingency, all the vehicles have to go through tech inspection and impound.
A good look at the Duralast Ford, the McGilvery Pro Truck, and we took the opportunity to talk with some of the drivers.
The strategy of this race is going to be a little bit different than Vegas to Reno in that it's a shorter distance, so you've got to push and charge a little bit harder. The course is significantly rougher, and it presents some obstacles that Vegas to Reno didn't have. There are a lot of sections where Casey has us running out in the middle of the rocks and bushes, and it's going to be a challenge for the tires to go through all this, there's no question.
When there's this much unknown, you know, you can only push it so hard before you get yourself in trouble. So I think probably the key is to run hard, but you got to keep it under control. You know, there's a lot of unknowns out there in the desert.
It's a good course. It's a really good course. Casey's done a great job on it. It's got some fast, it's got some slow, it's got some windy, it's got some narrows. So it's going to be a good challenge for everybody.
It's a shorter race than Vegas to Reno, so we'll be on it a little bit more in the beginning of the race because we don't have as far to go, 250 miles instead of 550. So we'll just try to drive it right to the finish line as fast as we can.
With over $40,000 up for grabs, you won't want to miss a minute. Stay tuned for the start of the 1998 Terriblestown 250. It's dark, the moon is still out. Mother Nature has yet to bring up the natural stadium lights, and that can only tell us one thing. It is almost time to start the motorcycles.
I can't wait till the sun comes up. It's a little bit cold right now, but, you know, I'm just going to go out and ride it like any other race I do, and just go for the win.
This is the first year I've done any of the off-road stuff, and everything I've done has been an adventure with Casey.
You know what, I'm just going out there, and, you know, it's 250 miles. Brian Brown and I are just going to go out there and basically try to win this thing overall. We have the best bike out there, but we'll just have to wait and see. We need the money. I need to pay some bills, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's a little cold, but it'll warm up, and it'll get in some tight sections off the beginning. We'll get warmed up pretty quick, so.
You know, you just can't think about it. You got to ride your own race and do the best you can, and at the end, if we're on top, great. If not, it's a bummer.
Well, Larry, you know exactly what these guys are going through right now. It's even our starter's chilly today.
Yeah, here we have Johnny Campbell getting ready to start. You know, this early in the morning, in a few minutes, he'll be going 100 miles an hour. And there goes Johnny on his Honda.
The sun has finally come out, and that's got to warm things up, not only the bike, but the body.
Yeah, here we have Dave Ondas. And, you know, it takes a while to warm up in these conditions. The chill factor, as cold as it was. This looks like Dusty Abbott on the Team Kawasaki.
There's no water there, right? That's got to be something to contend with that you wouldn't think it'd be wet there. I know it hadn't rained.
Well, they watered that dirt segment there, and they little overspray on the asphalt. And you can see these guys getting a little slippery getting onto the dirt. That looked like Nick Pearson on the Team KTM. Here we have Ty Davis getting ready to start, and he elected to pull his entry to the back of the pack. So his theory is, if he catches slower riders, he'll catch up.
I see a lot of guys just lighten the tires up. Is there a reason for that, or just anxious to get going?
You know, brand new knobby tires on asphalt, just very little traction.
Ah, okay.
Tim Fitzpatrick on a KTM.
We've now skipped to the 250 Pro class. The difference between the two bikes other than power?
Yes, you know, the chassis are the same. Here we have Steve Peets and Joey Lanza. The bikes are basically the same, just the horsepower is different. Oakley Lehman, Team Kawasaki, Team Green Rider. Taking a little easy off there. You can see he was a little scared of that water.
You know, when we're racing cars and trucks, it's a matter of getting in the groove. Is that also what you want to do here, Larry?
You know, absolutely. You know, even though we're saying it's a short race, but you don't want to make any mistakes. That was Brian Folks.
And here we are on course. Absolute beautiful day for racing. A little chilly, but I think once the sun gets up there, I think everyone's going to agree this is a great day for racing.
Yeah, look at this. Johnny Campbell on the gas. Big bump here. Just standing up, really working the bike. You can see it just underneath him working.
Well, that's great condition when the dust just flows off the side like that, isn't it?
Absolutely. And here we have Ty Davis. You know, remember, he started 6th in class, and his strategy is to get through the slower riders and work back up to the Johnnies and the Team Kawasaki guys. Riding really well on his Yamaha.
And you get a chance to inspect the course, but it's got to be difficult to memorize every little dip going the speeds they are.
Well, it's real important to read the terrain. I mean, looking here, you can see, it's hard to see that dip right there, and it's there. And that's what gets you.
Sneaks up on you awfully fast.
And this looks like Nick Pearson, big 4-stroke KTM, you know, the Vegas Torino winner.
And he's got it way up on top of the pegs. Now, this has really got to work your body, your back, your kidneys, your thighs, standing on the pegs.
Absolutely. You know, it's a very physical sport. And a lot of these guys are used to riding 3, 4, 5 hours. Whoa. little
showboat there.
A little showboat. In a race like this, you can also shorten your sections and ride from pit to pit and change regularly.
Oh, another thing, we talk about the dip that you can't see here with the camera, but the little arrows off to the left, a lot of times the promoter will put a down arrow and let you know that there is a ditch coming up.
That's correct, and that's what you have to learn to look for. Not only are you worrying about the rocks and the ditches, but you have to follow the markings.
Well, prior to the start, the cold temperatures, the wind was blowing, everyone was cursing that wind because it made things so chilly, but now I got to think the wind is their friend.
It is. You can see how Brian Folks here on the KTM is be able to stay right behind that guy.
With $10,000 waiting for the first bike to finish, the throttles are turned up at the 19...
Best from the deserts of the Southwest to the sands of Africa. Stadiums or short courses, it's Pro Truck. Fast, affordable, and extremely competitive. Fully equipped with the finest in off-road racing accessories. Turnkey and fully assembled. The ultimate in design and function. Ivan Ironman Stewart's V8 Pro Truck race vehicles. Call for more information or hit us on our website. Pro Truck. Race with the best. Race with Pro Truck.
Welcome back to Pahrump, and the motorcycle start of the Terriblestown 250. More motorcycles getting off the line. Larry, who we got and what class are we in?
Yeah, notice the P, Todd. That's plus 30. We have the team here of the Brown Brothers. This is Daryl Folks.
Now, Daryl is the actually the son of Casey Folks, the promoter, and his brother also raced. He raced in the same class?
Brian was in the 250 class.
Okay.
Here's Ted Honeycutt.
Let me tell you, we know a lot about this guy.
We know Ted. Ted's on a 400 Yamaha.
And here's the sleeper in the pack, P19, our own Larry Rustler, getting away. What's going through your mind right there?
Well, I really wasn't cherry picking. You know, it's just concentrating on what's in front of me. I know we got a long day in front of us. T11, this is the open 4-stroke class. That's Craig Smith.
And there's the man that makes it all work so well.
Let me tell you, there's not too many promoters that are more dedicated than this guy, Casey Folk. You know, I think he sincerely appreciates every rider and every driver that comes to his race. Look at the concentration here, Larry.
He's watching that green light, red light. When the green goes, he's off.
Yeah, that's something kind of unique to off-road racing.
Well, Casey does a real good job with the scoring and the timekeeping, so he uses that light as a real accurate measurement.
Opposed to a green flag that we'd typically get at a desert race.
And what's he giving them, this last-minute instruction? It seems like every rider's getting about the same word from the man.
You know, he's just being real personable about it and just saying good luck and be safe.
And the quad's getting underway now. What's the difference, other than 4 wheels, between the quads and the bikes?
Well, the motors are real similar, but obviously, as you can see, the 4 wheels, they actually have quite a bit of suspension these days.
Now, some of these sound like a 2-stroke and some are 4-stroke. Is that right?
That's correct. That's a 2-stroke here. They're both very popular, and if it's a pro class, it doesn't really matter which 2-stroke or 4-stroke.
Look at Mom's got the camera out. There's the girlfriend.
Well, these are the best fans in the world that would turn out this early in the morning on a chilly morning here in Nevada. It's easy to get a ticket to a Lakers game, but come out here this early in the morning and cheer these guys on.
It puts a big smile on your face.
Well, here's the last word from some of the unlimited class drivers set to take off here from Pahrump.
Yeah, 10,000 first overall, and Mark's coming here, and we're going to have a fun day. Nice and windy, so it'll be a good racing day.
We're just waiting for that first flat Troy gets, and we're going to slide in behind him and go from there. But it's going to be a fun day. We're excited, and this is always a good race. And we missed it last year, but we're glad to be back this year, and we keep wanting to stand with Troy on that podium and get some of that Herbst money, so we'll go from there.
The plans today are to hopefully do fairly well. We're going to be consistent off the start and work our way up to Beatty, and then on the way back, we know the road pretty good well on the way back, and it's pretty flat, pretty straight, and that's where I think we'll make most of our time up. So we're hoping to have no problems on the way up, put ourselves in a good position, and then race it home.
It's going to be nice today. We're looking forward to a good day of racing. It's perfect conditions. Got a little work cut out for us, 5th car off the line. So I tell you what, though, we're just going to run hard all day and see where we end up.
We have some contest winners that have come out to the race that we've flown in, and they're out there being part of the team for the day. We're actually, they got to do a ride-along while we did some testing and that kind of thing. So it's been a really neat experience for them getting some new people out into the racing, and we're glad we could be here for Pepsi and Ocean Spray.
Don't hit anything. There's a lot of rocks alongside the road. You know, we went on the publicity run, which was a lot of fun, but I noticed, you know, probably the first 45 miles, there was a lot of lava-type rock that was, you know, virtually on the edge of the course. So you don't want to be in the dust and get too anxious and take a chance on running into one of those big rocks.
We'll get underway with the 1998 Terrible. This is the Speed Vision Desert Racing Series coverage of the 1998 Terriblestown 250. The scenery has changed, the terrain has changed, and our thanks out to the BLM for use of this land. It looks like our first rider coming in. Who we got here? Looks like he's going to make a pit, Larry.
Yes, Todd, we got Johnny Campbell. You know, he was first off the line, no dust. 7 o'clock, it's 9:40 now. It's 2.5 hours or more. He's been on the bike. Looks like I think he's just going to get gas.
I'm anxious to see how quick these guys do this, but I know that I've heard they're in and out quick.
Ivan right there, gas and go.
That's amazing.
Really quick.
No time to waste. There's Johnny Campbell, just flies out of the pit area. And as soon as he's gone, it looks like Ty Davis is coming in.
Now remember, Ty was 6th off the line, so on corrected time, it's close. Here's Ty handing it over to Donnie Book, discussing a little bit maybe about the bike, maybe about the handling. I'm not really sure. Donnie's asking him questions.
Just like that, Donnie Book's out of there. And we took the opportunity to talk with Ty Davis about how the course has been.
The course is really good. It's real technical as far as lots of rocks. You got to be on your toes. Up here in the northern part, it seems like the ground is frozen, so it's really slippery. So you really got to be on your toes, especially when it's loose rocks out there.
Next rider coming in, this is number 24, the Pearson team.
Yeah, riding really hard. You know, they won Vegas to Reno, and you can see it here. They're doing their darndest.
Big 4-stroke, huh?
Sounds good.
Always tell that sound, that throaty sound, huh?
Yeah, that's a 620 KTM that they've been riding.
That's 620 cc's, Larry?
That's correct, Ivan.
Are they modified typically, or they run them pretty much stock out of the factory?
You know, they're pretty stock, amazingly. Pipe, maybe a pipe.
It's like Brian Folks, huh?
Yeah, Brian Folks riding the 250, riding really good here, leading the 250 class, and on corrected time, doing really well.
You know, the amount of experience these guys have got, the folks and a lot of these guys, Casey folks and everybody that runs these motorcycles in the desert, got to be a big advantage for somebody to come from the East Coast to come out here and try and compete against these guys.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like Brian, I mean, he's been riding out in the desert since he's been in diapers.
Yeah, I'm sure.
From the middle of the course, we go back to the starting line. There you get a good look at the 5,800 square foot tent, which is full of food, live music. Very warm, but we've got a race to run. This is the unlimited truck class set to go. First off the line will be Rod Thomas and Brian Coates.
Brian Coates built this truck a few years ago and actually won a race at Barstow there. You remember that? Who we got here? We got Kyle Taylor. Big bunch of horsepower.
Big Chevrolet.
Right after Taylor will be Jason Cobb, the good folks Ocean Spray, bringing this truck out.
Great sponsor, huh?
Never get thirsty.
The Duralast truck. Dave actually started this race.
And this is the first of 2 Herbst entries. And this thing is just a thing of beauty.
Ooh, I know there's a lot of horsepower there.
I'm sure it's well over 700 horsepower.
Absolutely.
Now, as they head out from the starting line, the course is very smooth. Almost terrible the way they tease them like this, give them a nice feel of wide open road, smooth, wetted down. That's not going to last long, is it, Larry?
No, there's plenty of rocks and ditches coming up, trust me.
Oh, perfect conditions, though. Damp. They've even watered that down to start. Nice, cool weather. Gosh, I wish I was out there with you guys. The very first unlimited open wheel car. Corey Sheeler and Larry Joe from Las Vegas, Nevada. Engine sounds good, Larry.
Sounding good. He's on his way.
Back to the starting line. This is the car of John Phillips, sporting a new paint job.
I believe that's the Wally World paint job.
Slipping that clutch a little bit.
And the Truggy. Part buggy, part truck, 700 plus Ford motor horsepower.
Lots of wheel travel, 38 inches of wheel travel. Great in-car camera. Look at this in-car camera here.
That makes your hair stand up.
I'd like to see how he negotiates this first hairpin turn. Beautiful conditions out there, as you pointed out, Ivan, and with a vehicle like that, boy, you can have a lot of fun out on the course.
That truck is capable of running up right up to 120, 30 miles per hour pretty quick, Larry.
The entry of Russell and Ryan Stewart. I'm telling you, Ivan, you got all kinds of family out there. Any relation?
None there, I'll tell you. This is a car being driven by a longtime friend of mine, Jerry Welcho, and the car rather is actually owned by Mark Post.
Back on board the Truggy, it looks like they're coming up on some problems. And I do believe that is another Herbst vehicle.
Yeah, it sure does. It looks like the trophy truck.
Yeah, there's some sort of a problem. Now, it's kind of unique in Casey Folks' races that you can only pit in strategic spots, so you can't go out and fix somebody, Larry.
Well, Casey always emphasized safety, so no one on the course.
Back to the line, this is the car of Ron Brandt from Torrance, California.
Ron's another competitor, been around for many, many years.
A lot of these guys traveling great distances to be here. Gary Wise of Hagerman, Idaho came a long way, but $10,000 is a draw. With the Truggy of Troy Herbst leaving a trail of dust, we'll return with much more race action from the Terriblestown 250 after the
series. The Tonopah 300, an epic Nevada off-road race. The Silver State 300, the most scenic off-road race in the world. And the world-famous Vegas to Reno, the longest off-road race in the United States. And the series finale, the Terriblestown 250, the richest off-road race in Nevada. Come race with us or just come watch. But don't miss the 1999 Silver State Series. We are the best.
We're back with the racing from the Terriblestown 250 with a look towards Death Valley, the epitome of extreme. And you see off in the distance a bit of dust starting to rise as our racers prepare to come through. This valley can deliver it all. Extreme heat, extreme cold. So right now, the truck of Rod Thomas is doing battle and doing quite well.
And extreme speeds, to mention that.
First car on the road, that's a great feeling, believe me.
And we talk about speeds in excess of 100 miles an hour over this terrain. It's got to be difficult when you hit any kind of undulation on the course to control that much machinery.
It really is. Here's Kyle Taylor. You know, he's moved up into the trick truck class. But you're right. I'm sure Larry will verify the fact that you definitely don't want to get... You know, the trucks are designed to hit ditches and jump ditches and all that, but you don't want to get sideways through them. Dave Ashley at speed.
And this is also a converted limited truck.
It really is. It was a earlier Class 8 truck that they've updated to run in the trick trucks.
And they've been doing quite well in it.
Yeah, these guys are typically a lot of experience here. Corey Sheeler. Watch how he's kind of weaving between the brush. Even though he's on the road, he has to kind of pick his way through, accelerate, deaccelerate, kind of get the most efficient way to get through this desert.
Sheeler and Job doing quite well, running first in class. And here's a prime picture of why they start with a stagger. Can't run everyone out there, but boy, it sure is nice to sit out in front.
Well, you notice how the dust is sort of hanging behind this particular car. There's a car behind him, and the wind plays a factor. It plays a role in when you can catch and when you cannot pass.
And that's one of the other reasons that we pre-run is to know where to pass and where not to pass.
John Phillips looking very good, keeping that paint job clean. He has absolutely got the pedal down.
Just grabbed another gear right there.
Yeah. Now, we don't see motorcycle because they're way ahead, Larry. Is that right? They've started several hours ahead of the cars, actually.
That's right.
And we've got a rollover. Unfortunately, looks like Jason Cobb in the Ocean Spray vehicle. And they have executed a textbook rollover in the middle of the course, right next to a wash right there. And we were just talking about that. We will head down to the course and find out exactly what happened.
Hey, Jason, what happened?
Well, we flew this big jump right here. Everything was going good. We were cruising. Everything was fine. As the truck set down, I had no steering. I couldn't go anywhere. It just locked up as tight as could be. The power steering went out, it looks like. It skidded here, and we were just along for the ride at that point. So if we could get it back over, I think we'd be all right.
If is quite a big word. We're just glad they are safe. Going by the unlimited open wheel cars. And that's got to be a frustrating feeling, Ivan, to be sitting there and looking at your vehicle upside down while everyone passes you by.
Well, it really is. And the way the thing landed, it looked like it could be an Indo, but hopefully not. An Indo meaning instead of sideways. Oh, nice jump there.
Great racing action out here. And these are the limited cars and trucks back at the starting line. Casey Jones and his partner Ryan Arciero, limited open wheel car. And gentlemen, what is that, limited in engine and suspension?
Yeah, basically what that means is, you know, a lot of limitation, transmission, wheel travel.
And Al Hogan here in a F Ford 150.
Bob Neisty and Tom Moore, long way from home. That's in Canada.
A lot of people being drawn out by that big prize purse, and that American dollars translate well into Canada right now.
Looks like the Chevy of Keith Fontana. Taking it easy there, Ivan?
He is, yeah. He's just kind of getting warming up. Tom Scahill of San Rafael, California, in a Chevrolet.
Tom is the current points leader in this class, as well as last year's points champion.
I believe he won the Vegas to Reno race also.
Motor sound good. Now, there's a typical job of a co-driver that can help you locate where the corners are and the ditches and watch the gauges.
It really helps, too, if you haven't pre-run the race course. In Casey's races, there is no pre-running. He does do an organized one lap. But in this case, the co-driver's helping.
There we go with Pro Trucks. Now, Ivan, you know a bit about these fellas.
Yes, this is the class we started about 3 or 4 years ago. And this is Jimmy Knuckles here from Brawley, California. Chuck Harris out of Las Vegas. A level playing field, NASCAR format for off-road racing. A lot of spec components, tires, wheels, wheel travel.
So really just the motor and the fiberglass is different.
That's typically what it is. That was Kevin McGilray, and here's Larry Plank. Yeah, it's a real driver's class, Larry. Just a lot of fun to drive, about 400 horsepower.
From there, we go to the unlimited small truck class. Craig Turner, Ford Ranger, of Gary Turner fame, GT Bicycles. They know a bit about suspension and racing.
Rev that motor, huh?
FabTech.
Here's another motor that'll also rev. Driven by Dave Winter and Jared Waddell.
Yeah, very competitive truck. They're no strangers to off-road racing.
This is the diesel-powered Hummer of Rod Hall Racing out of Reno, Nevada. And that has got to be one of the most bulletproof vehicles.
It's tough, though, let me tell you. Not very fast, but tough.
Always make it to the finish, it seems like.
Ashley Disher's winner of the Vegas to Reno race and current points leader in the unlimited truck class in the Ford F-150, which has been in service for 8 years. New truck for $99 coming out with overhead cams, fuel injection, the whole basket of goods coming along. Stay with us. Ivan, Larry, and I will be back with more coverage of the 1998 Terriblestown 250. Back to the race action from the 1998 Terriblestown 250 coming from Pahrump, Nevada. We are back to the motorcycles, and they are just flat out flying right now, Larry.
Yeah, here's Johnny Campbell coming in. Notice he's on the brake, slowing down. There's a road crossing here. Best in the Desert does a real good job by monitoring that, making sure there's no traffic coming through.
Boy, he sure looks fresh after several hours in the saddle, still going hard.
Pretty amazing. You know, Johnny rode this whole race solo. Ty Davis, now he's second, but on corrected time, he's just a minute and a half behind Campbell. So it's playing into his hand. He started behind, but his plan is to try to catch up on corrected time.
So Larry, these guys get to stop at this road, but there's somebody with a green light, you say, that pushes a button and lets them go?
That's correct. He uses a red light, green light, so we can't see it, but it is a real safe situation here. This looks like the Pearson brothers.
Pearson brothers, you got a little bit of entanglement going down there by his back fork.
Looks like little course markings.
That's a 4-stroke too now, right?
That's a 620 KTM.
Now he is 10 minutes behind Campbell, and coming in is Brian Folks, 19 minutes behind.
And listen to the noise. It's very easy to listen to the 250 over the big 4-strokes or the open-sized bikes.
Yeah, you hear that high-pitched ring there, that 2-stroke.
2-stroke, very distinctive.
Great ride for him, you know, leading the 250 class.
And I guess you just have to play air on caution, and, you know, coming up these roads. I know these guys would probably love to just goose it a little bit and just punch it right over the road, but all it takes is one vehicle, and your race, like that one, your race would be over real quick.
That's why you need to stop. And right here, this is the leaders in the plus 30 class, the Brown brothers.
Well, anything can happen in desert racing. A lot of money on the line as we get back to the trucks. This is the truck of Kyle Taylor, who is currently in first place.
These guys are running hard, aren't they?
Yeah, it looks like he's running real hard.
Boy, that engine sounds good, though.
It really does, making some horsepower. Pitch your sideways. That's the reason he's running so hard. He's got Ashley Smith behind him.
Not far behind him.
Now, we talked about the weather earlier, gentlemen. The dust doesn't seem to be clearing as quickly as it did early in the day for the motorcycles.
Well, it appears it has calmed down a little bit, and that definitely plays into the strategy of their race.
Corey Sheeler and the team of Sheeler and Job running strong. Now physically in third, which probably puts him close to first place due to the time start.
Johnny Phillips.
Yeah, not far behind.
You kind of see that Johnny's car here, the back end kind of come up a little bit. I noticed that. I know you do too, Larry. When that comes up, it's a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling. You want that front end to fly, don't you? At least I do.
That's all part of the setup and dialing in the suspension. So even that truck there had a little kick to it.
Get a great shot of the suspension right there. These things are high-tech masterpieces.
Rod Thomas.
And this is the TCS buggy of Russell and Ryan Stewart. No relation to Ivan, but I'm thinking right about now they wish they had him on board for a little advice.
Boy, look at that dust hanging there. You're right, Larry. The wind has really calmed down. Jimmy Stiles of Oxnard, California. Jimmy's been around a long time.
What have been your impressions of this course, Larry? What do you think about it from a racer's perspective?
Had a great variety of terrain, a lot of fast stuff, technical. You know, always a lot of rocks in the Nevada desert, but you got to remember there's a lot of silt and sand too, and that plays a big part in the setup of the truck.
Well, how hot it runs and how it pulls the horsepower down, and it's just
it's one other obstacle.
Absolutely.
Chevy is just flying along.
We talk about not only you have to beat the other competitors, but I'm sure, Larry, you'll agree with me that probably the most important thing you have to beat is the desert.
Just like Dave Ashley said at the beginning of the show, don't hit anything.
The Scahill Chevrolet still sounds pretty good. Hear him pump that throttle, trying to get all the traction he can.
Trying to get a feel for the terrain.
Great shot from the helicopter.
You can hear the engine rev there. See, he's in that silt. You can hear that slipping. Tires are slipping.
Gives you a good idea of just how fast they're going.
Got a good thumbs up there. Everything looks good. That's a good indication. I love to have a co-driver that gives me the thumbs up indication that gauges are good, we're doing good.
Avoiding a bit of the dust.
Looks like Craig Turner to me, boys.
This is Craig Turner, son of Gary Turner, GT Bicycles, and you know, he's making a name for himself in racing. He is doing an exceptional job.
Again, limited engine. You can hear that's a smaller motor. It doesn't have that big throaty sound of those 700-800 horsepower engines.
And practically half the suspension of the big trucks.
This is John Phillips, the Unlimited car. Paint job's still looking good, getting a little squirrely out in the sage, and no problem for the buggy. And we've got a vehicle down. Ivan, who does that look like?
That looks like the Chevrolet of Kyle Taylor.
Well, they are off the road, and it doesn't look good. So they've got the side of it all jacked up. It'll be interesting to see if they can salvage something out of this. Just frustration after a great day of racing. Let's go down and find out from Gordon McKeel what exactly happened.
What happened to you guys? What happened to the truck?
Ran out of fuel, broke the rotor off the rear.
You guys had a heck of a run going.
Yeah, we sure did. Had at least 15 minutes on Dave Ashley. Now we got a punctured radiator and a whole list of problems.
Fortunes change quickly in desert racing. Stay tuned. The motorcycle finish. Larry, the day is almost done.
It's been a great race. Johnny Campbell finishing first. But remember, start position, corrected time. We'll see what happens.
It gets pretty tough sometimes because if it's cold like this, you know, you ride a while and your hands are frozen, you want to get off the bike, but you're right by yourself, you got no choice, so you just got to tough it out.
Right behind, about a minute and a half back, is the team of Ty Davis and Donnie Book.
That was awesome. The motorcycle-only section was real cool. It was just reminiscent of old Casey races, and it was just so much fun, you know, just kind of boondocking. It was awesome.
We just kept working our way up, and you know, Johnny was riding really good. I admire him. He kept it pinned the whole time, and you know, we raced for it. And I think we got the championship. So I mean, I know we got the championship. I think we got the win for today.
Nick Pearson was in next, the team of Pearson and Pearson, and he is a man of many words.
How'd it go out there, Nick?
Going good.
Brian Folks arrived 5th at the winner's podium, and he takes 5th overall in the motorcycle division. Also a man of many words for the crowd here.
Faster, your shadow's going to have a hard time keeping up, man.
Yeah.
Well, the car started 3 hours behind the first motorcycles, and they are at about the halfway mark. This is Corey Sheeler still in the lead, and Ivan, he has decided not to pit.
Well, you know, there's a lot of pit areas along the way, and he thinks he can make it to the next one. There's a lot of strategies that goes on. We'll see what happens with the Durlast truck here. Yep, they're coming in.
Well, I'm sure they're going to do a driver change.
Yeah, driver change. This truck carries a lot of fuel. In fact, it carries 80 gallons of fuel. I'm sure they'll change the rear tires, get that driver change as quick as they can.
You notice, Ivan, they're putting a new one on, so that means he got a flat out there somewhere.
Absolutely.
Those tires are not your standard Michelin. 125 pounds apiece. 2 men to throw that thing and secure it in the back, and they are out. So Durlast, you got to rate that as a good pit stop for them as they blow out. Coming in now, this is John Phillips. Now, he is just 4 minutes behind Ashley, but in corrected time, he is 1 minute ahead. So the strategy for pits really comes into play here. As Phillips will jump out, looks like Mike Juleson will get in.
Now, Mike Juleson is the owner of a company called Jimco, who actually makes these chassis and preps this car. In fact, I think Mike actually owns this race car.
And you can bet the Ashley team is keeping track of when they're leaving the pit and using that information to their benefit by using the radios.
Absolutely.
Well, the pits aren't as fast as the motorcycles, Larry, but so far you got to rate a pretty good job. Mike Juleson revving it up, and he gets out of the pit real quick. Let's take this moment to talk with John Phillips.
It's pretty rough, you know. I really was a lot rougher than I expected, and I had to drive really hard. The track's pretty tricky to find in some spots. Ended up being about 2 miles off the track at one point. I had to turn around and come back and find it. So it's pretty rocky and rough.
This is the truck of Rod Thomas, currently running in second in class, 27 minutes behind the team of Ashley and Smith.
Sliding all over the place there, Ivan.
Just loose and silty.
Yeah, looks like Gary Weiss at the Idaho entry.
Long way from home. Can make a quick stop, it looks like.
We've got him cleared out.
See how soft and silty that is. He can't hardly get traction.
The action is really starting to heat up. Stay tuned for more race action from the 1998 Terriblestown 250. Terriblestown 250. Lots of dust coming, and we're up to the road crossing where moments ago, Larry, we saw the motorcycles crossing this, and that'll be interesting to see how the cars negotiate it.
Well, I think you'll see they're going to stop and take their time just the same.
Larry Job now at the wheel of the unlimited open wheel car.
Looks like the Durlast truck really making some dust of it.
Boy, talk about dependability.
Well, he is behind Job here, so he's trying to catch up to him.
That's Dan Smith. Now, you've done some motorcycle racing with Dan.
Dan and I go way back. We've had a lot of good races against each other, and he's very familiar to winning races.
I know he knows how to do it. This truck has actually finished every mile of every race for the last, I don't know how many.
Some 4 years. Very incredible.
I believe so.
The Julson Phillips vehicle now approaching the cross. 6 minutes, 4 minutes by corrective time, and they have lost since they pitted. And it doesn't look like they've got a spare on the back there anymore, so that's a pretty good indication that they probably had a flat somewhere along the line.
That's cost them 3 or 4 minutes anyway.
From Idaho, Gary Wise in corrected time. He is dead even now with Phillips and Julson. So things are really starting to tighten up, and this is always the case, Ivan, Larry. We get down towards the end, and people start scrambling for those precious seconds.
Absolutely. You know, you may have had lost some time earlier in the race. You've gotten lost, as we talked about, or had a flat, or gotten stuck, and now it's time. Let's get on the gas pedal, because we got to get to the end and win this thing.
Yep, every second counts.
Well, this is the Rod Thomas Chevy, still running second in class to Ashley and Smith, and real frustrating because he's going to come to a complete stop. Vehicles, vacationers here, spoiling his race.
Now, this is Brian Coates driving. The actual Brian built this race truck and has got quite a bit of experience in it, so we'll see how he does.
Well, here's the Duralast truck. Now, they must have gotten by Job. They are physically first.
Still running strong.
Open wheel vehicles doing quite well out here today. Getting a little squirrely there into the silt, but staying on track, and we've got a vehicle down. And who is this, Ivan?
This looks like the Durlast truck to me.
Well, we saw earlier how hard he was running. He caught and passed Job, and here he is all by himself, changing the flat out in the middle of the desert.
Boy, no one from Midas when you need him. That is not an easy job.
He doesn't want to talk to anybody, do an interview right now. See, Dan, now, you got to remember that this truck has only got one driver's seat. He doesn't have a passenger with him or a co-driver. So he's got to change that tire. In fact, did you notice, Larry, he left the tire on the ground there?
Left it there. He's going to give it to the pit crew, come get it later, or a souvenir for a spectator.
Changing the tire in a Desert 101. He is past the grade.
There's no dust ahead of him now, so he's still leading physically, it looks like.
Well, it appears he's running hard here. This looks like Job. And there is dust right in front of him.
Looks like Ron Brandt at the highway crossing again.
Coming to almost a complete stop there. Not wasting any time. And again, it's just so frustrating. It really shows a full measure of patience being able to bring that vehicle to a stop, and you're just hating seeing that flag up there. But they are there for your safety.
Now, this is Casey Jones and Ryan Arciero. Ryan Arciero came up to help these guys try and win a championship for him. Sound like the engine's still running good, moving along.
Now they're running first in class.
Back to the crossing. This is Tom Scahill in the limited Chevy truck, also running first in his class. Scahill out of California gets the light. He is off. Vehicle sounds good. 2 spare tires on the back, so no major problems for them. Russell and Ryan Stewart running third in class.
By the way that traffic just went by, I'm glad they're stopping them, I'll tell you.
Boy, absolutely. Really appreciate those people out there keeping the race safe.
Our first pro truck, this is Chuck Harris. In fact, I was envious at the start. He's taking his son Chucky with him. Gosh, it sounds good.
Yeah. Well, they're running an impressive 4th overall truck.
Chuck has won 2 of our championships in earlier years, so he's a fine competitor.
Another class leader is Craig Turner in his limited small truck, his father Gary Turner of GT Bicycle fame, and these guys are putting the hammer down as they head for the finish. We'll have more of the Terriblestown 250 right after this short break. At the start of the day, the finish line is right behind the casino here. And it looks from our vantage point, Larry Job is first across the line. Something must have happened to Dan Smith. Let's find out exactly what happened from his perspective.
You gotta be a little excited.
Yeah, it's 2 in a row for us. Me and Dan Smith had a pretty good race going, and he ended up putting it on the side, and here we are again.
Here comes another vehicle. They've already crossed the finish line. This is the podium area. This is Jolson in 2nd overall and in class in the Phillips NGM-sponsored unlimited open-wheel car. And the Duralast crew, well, here's what Danny Gonzalez has to say about them.
He had a small altercation. He'd gone off the side of the road and rolled it on his side, but he was able to get it back on his feet, and he's bringing it on in. He's going to be all right.
This is the guy that preps our car right here. That's a good thing he didn't beat us. We might have to change companies, but Mike Jolson from Jimco is the guy who builds our car, preps them. He does a great job. So it's a Jimco 1-2 finish, looks like.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mike.
And I knew this guy, if he knew I was getting easy, there's no way I can let that happen.
I'd have rolled the car before I let him beat me.
Hey, in fact, Dan Smith, he's back here just a little ways. He got it upside down just back there, so. But, yeah, it was a real good time.
Well, those guys are excited. They should be. They just won $10,000. This is Smith Ashley, the truck, the Duralast truck, usually looking like it just came off the showroom floor. A little beat up right now. They still win first in class. Let's find out exactly what happened and why it is the way it is.
Always look like you brought him right out of the car wash.
Congratulations, Dan.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, yeah, we started out today. Dave started the race, my partner Dave Ashley, and he had some mechanical troubles in the beginning. I guess he got a flat and ripped a brake line off the car, and got to pit 4. We did a driver change, and the last half of the course was really good for our Duralast truck. I was able to catch back up to the lead buggy and pass him, and I think we had enough time for the $10,000, but driver Dan got a flat tire, and I got it changed and got going again and tried to make some time and completely overjumped this one deal and landed sideways and flipped the truck. I think it went over a couple times.
Now entering the podium area, the team of Rod Thomas and Brian Coates. Their entry ends up 2nd in class. You know this truck pretty well.
I love this truck. This truck still works. This truck's too much fun. One person shouldn't have this much fun.
Congratulations. Good run.
Thank you.
And here's the first pro truck of Chuck Harris.
It was awesome. And a good deal for my son. It's his first race in the desert, and did an awesome job over here. Terrific job. So this is our first really good race of the year, and it feels absolutely terrific. I was just on pins and needles waiting for the race.
Great comeback.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We've been lumping for the last 25 miles. Broken wishbone, battery's dead. I can't shut it off.
Oh, is that right?
It's a done deal. It's a done deal.
Race results are brought to you by Terrible Herbst Oil Company, the best bad guy in the West.
The top 10 winners in order of finish in the motorcycle division were: in first, Ty Davis and Donnie Book on a Yamaha, winning the $10,000 in a time of 4 hours, 48 minutes, and 11 seconds, with an average speed of 55 miles per hour. In second, and just 42 seconds behind, riding solo was Johnny Campbell on a Honda. Third was Russell and Nick Pearson on a KTM. Fourth, Brian Folks and David Pearson on a KTM. Fifth, Daryl Folks and Rick Bozart. Sixth, Daryl and Kevin Brown. Seventh, Oakley Lehman and James Summers. Eighth, Steve Hingevald and Jeff Kapp. Ninth, Jonas Street and Tabor Murphy. And in 10th, Aaron Huntington and Scott Morris. In the Cars and Trucks division, in first overall and taking home the $10,000 was Corey Sheeler and Larry Job in a Jimco. Second goes to John Phillips and Mike Jolson. Third, Ron Brandt. Fourth overall and first in class was Dave Ashley and Dan Smith.
in the Ford Duralast truck. 5th, Gary Wide. 6th overall and first in class was pro truck driver Chuck Harris. 7th overall and first in class was Craig Turner. 8th, Rod Thomas and Brian Coates. 9th overall and first in class was Tom Scahill. And 10th was Jimmy Knuckles in a Ford Pro truck.
So the big winners of the Terriblestown 250 were motorcycle riders Ty Davis and Donnie Book, and Corey Sheeler and Larry Job in an unlimited open-wheel car. $10,000 to each team. And, Ivan, that makes for a very nice Christmas gift.
It really does. They both did a great job. And as we predicted, it was rough, it was violent, it was tough. Only 58% of the competitors completed the race. Just for that kind of payback, made it worth the effort, I'll tell you.
Definitely worth the effort. Larry, the motorcycle riders had a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a ball. Good, safe race. What more could you ask for? And I'd also like to thank the Terriblestown Casino for hosting the race and their staff.
If you